guys. We have a great panel for you today. We're going to talk about app monetization plans, how to improve usage, how to get more downloads for your apps. And I think mobile is a key product in India these days. And we have three wonderful guests who solve this problem every day. We have Alex from Cheetah Mobile, which is one of the biggest app product companies from China. They have about 600 million monthly active users. Alex looks after strategy and M&A at Cheetah Mobile. Yeah. We have Mada from Branch Metrics. She runs Branch Metrics, which is a deep linking mobile software company. They help solve problems between launching cross-platform linking solutions for mobile apps. She's joining us from Palo Alto. Thank you for coming. And we have Amar Goel from PubMatic. He's the founder and chairman at PubMatic. Before that, he launched Comely Media. And he's been a serial entrepreneur. He's worked at McKinsey, Microsoft, and he launched one of the first e-commerce startups long back during the dot-com era. Welcome, Amar.
Yeah, I'm the old guy, yeah.
Yeah. So before we, let's just jump right into it. What are the key trends you guys are seeing in the mobile app ecosystem? And how is that going to impact app usage this year and going forward? We can probably start with Alex in that order.
Yeah, sure. So a few things we are seeing is number one, we are seeing more and more time span shift from consumers from traditional media and everything else to mobile internet. And this trend will basically create a lot more monetization opportunities on the mobile internet over the next few years. And second thing we are seeing is there are more and more decentralized user-generated content being generated on mobile internet. And this will create a new era for content production, and also will further accelerate the consumer time span and consumer content consumption on mobile internet.
Sure. Mada, do you have to add anything?
Yeah, so I think just to kind of follow up on that point, we also see content as becoming a bigger driver for people driving installs. So I think if you look in the past, apps were these lonely islands. They were just being promoted just as the app itself. And now more and more content is being generated either by users or by the app developers. And we see a future in mobile app marketing to be actually mobile app content marketing. And we're trying to build links that send you to the right content regardless of the platform that we're on to kind of go with that trend.
So both of these folks deal primarily in the app ecosystem world. I mean, PubMatic is a supply-side platform, so we work with big publishers to help them sell their ad inventory programmatically. So we end up working with both app developers as well as mobile web, publishers, right? So publishers often have desktop, and then they have a mobile web experience as well. And I would say that, I think there's a real struggle going on in mobile web, where because of the reduced ability to target users, lack of data around audience, geolocation like lat long, all those kinds of things, I think mobile web is still a big issue. I think mobile app is increasing, very well from an advertising perspective. So we came out with a study, I think a couple months ago, where we said mobile app has actually crossed desktop in terms of advertising CPMs, but mobile web, like I said, is really still an issue. And both ecosystems are very healthy, but mobile web usage is actually, as a share, growing faster than app. I mean, both are growing very strong, so it isn't one's going to kill the other. Yeah. But I think we're all seeing that there's a limited number of apps people can have and use, and so a lot of casual usage is still very much mobile web driven.
That's an interesting point. I think in India, we saw the Myntra example. They went app only, and recently they relaunched their mobile website to get some of that traffic back. I think Mada deals with this all the time, the fight between mobile web and the app ecosystem. Maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. and a lot of apps that we work with struggle with this. It's a lot easier to acquire users right now on the web because you can do content marketing, you can work on SEO, and that's very hard to crack in the mobile space. So what we see a lot of app developers do is they acquire users on the web, and then they use different mechanisms to convert their web users to mobile. What they find is once they install the app, it's actually they become a lot more engaged, and it's easier to re-engage them. But it's very hard to acquire them to be app users first. So what they do is they use email campaigns, they use web-to-app banners. So if you were going on their mobile website and you found some interesting content, let's say a recipe, they say, hey, open this in app. And that takes you straight to the App Store. You install the app, and it takes you to the recipe that you found. And then you're already in the app. But they don't send you to the app first. They send you to the mobile web first to decrease their acquisition costs. And then once you're in the app, it's a lot easier. Like your engagement is higher, and they do consider you as an app user to be a lot more valuable than just a mobile web user.
So is the split between mobile web and the app ecosystem, is that a specific challenge for India, or is that a global phenomena? Amar, and since you guys have 30% of your share coming from China, you can probably give us some of the China examples.
Well, what we are seeing is that today, because native app still offers a lot of better user experience compared to the HTML5 supported web solution. So globally, I think a lot of the developers, they still prefer to launch the native app and offer a better user experience, which will help them engage and better interact with their consumers. But on the other hand, the technology on the HTML5 side has been consistently improving. So another trend is more and more super apps, which refers to the apps that takes a lot of the consumer time span and consistently expanding their features and the functionalities. For a lot of these super apps, they are trying to create an in-app browsing environment where the content is rendered and consumed and supported by HTML5 solution. But eventually, I think the HTML5 will continue to improve. I think there will be more and more usage on the HTML5 side. But I think there will be a key difference between mobile and PC is that native will continue to take a very significant share in the app development environment.
Great. Amar, if you can tell us a bit about what are the key challenges, since you work with app developers, what are the key challenges they have when it comes to monetization, increasing usage, improving app discovery? What are the key challenges they're facing these days?
Yeah, I mean, I think in mobile app monetization, I mean, there's kind of a broad spectrum out there, right? I mean, there's a subscription type model, there's in-app purchases, there's advertising. I was just talking to somebody from McKinsey yesterday who said, hey, we're doing a study for a global client. They do business applications, and they are trying to figure out what do they do in India and other emerging markets where are they going to have a subscription type offering, or do they make it an ad-supported experience? And I think broadly, the Indian consumer has shown a lack of willingness to pay money for services. I mean, as one of my friends at Thomson said, nobody's going to pay for music. As an example, and you can take music and blank and put anything else you want in there. So, I think when you look at things like, I think Nathan from Jana was talking about, ways to compensate consumers in other ways, or advertising being another way to monetize the user. I think those are things that are very important in India. That being said, I think the supply of inventory is growing at such a fast pace, it kind of far exceeds advertisers' ability to buy that inventory. And also on top of that, I think unfortunately, as they are wont to do, advertisers and ad agencies are definitely behind the curve in terms of where consumers are spending their time. So if you look at the average publisher in India, or roughly if you look at the time spent, probably 70% of the time spent today in India, or 80%, is on mobile web or mobile app. Let's say half of that is mobile app. But the dollars on mobile app is, from an advertising perspective, is probably 10%, 15%, right? So leaving out search. So I think that is going to take some time to catch up. And I think, unfortunately, if you look at the mobile app for a second, the experience from an advertising perspective is not as good yet, right? You have latency on the networks. Advertisers really care about things like video advertising. So those things are harder to do on mobile. They're happening, and it's going to happen. I'm just saying we're not there yet today.
You guys have 600 million active users monthly. How are you? What's your monetization strategy for the suite of your apps?
Well, monetization on mobile, I think, is moving towards more and more of technology-driven, data-driven direction. To us, I think time span is equal to inventory, and the advertising monetization engine is like the engine. But what is the really important one is the oil, which is the data. So for this performance-based advertising, technology-driven advertising, what you really need is a lot of data about the consumers, about the advertising itself. And what you're really trying to do is to create a matching relationship. This consumer is ideal for this type of the gaming content, so let's push this advertising impression to this consumer. So what we are doing is we are trying to create more and more advertising inventory by expanding our product portfolio as well as user time span. On the other hand, we are trying to collect as much data as possible and do the analytical mining works on these data and trying to create the best connection between the advertising and the consumers.
Great. And when we talk about monetization, we can't talk about, we have to talk about app discovery, and that's what you guys do really well. You help publishers cross-link between different platforms, different websites. Tell me a bit about that. How is that working? What kind of traction does that have in the market, and how are app makers looking at that?
Yeah, so that's really interesting. When people talk about, I think if you look at deep linking and what deep linking meant before we kind of came into the market, it just meant re-engagement links. So if someone had already the app already installed, and you send them a link to a piece of content in the app, they will click on that link and they would open the app there. What we came in and we did that's a little bit different is deep linking on first install. So let's say one of our partners is Hotel Tonight, and they ran an A/B test. So they were promoting hotels and ads to a specific hotel in the app versus ads to the app itself. So one of them was a deep link, and one of them was just an app that took them to the app, and it went through a regular onboarding. Versus the other one, as soon as they installed the app, it took them to the hotel that they saw in the ad. So what they saw was actually an 18% increase in conversion to purchase and booking of that hotel. So basically, what that means is if you take people to the thing that they were looking for when they first found a link to your app, they're more likely to purchase that thing. It makes a lot of sense, right? And probably a lot of you have clicked on ads to some dress you saw on Facebook, and then you got to the app or the website and you didn't see the dress and you didn't end up buying anything. So it makes sense that if you deep link and you take people to the right platform, so if they see a link and they're on Android, you take them to the Android app. If they're on on iOS, you take them to the App Store. If they're on the web, you take them to the web version of that content. They're more likely to convert if you take them to the right thing. It's pretty straightforward, but it's amazing how many apps still don't do that, even on the web.
Yeah, I think that's an incredible way to discover apps and work with partners to find new apps. We don't have a lot of time left, but what are your key predictions for the app ecosystem in the next 1 year? We have a lot of developers here, and I'm sure they're taking notes on what are the what can they not miss out on in the next 1 year. Maybe we can start with Amar.
Yeah, I mean, broadly, I would even step up a level and say, desktop is dead. Long live mobile, And I mean, I'm still surprised how many companies I meet that are like, oh, we have a website, And I'm like, oh, what are you doing on mobile? What are you doing on mobile app or mobile? They're like, oh, we're going to do that later, And I'm like, I don't understand that. How didn't you not launch an app or a mobile web, or responsive site first and then figure out your web experience? And I mean, I just think that the ease of use on mobile, everybody on this room has a smartphone on them 18 hours a day. I mean, it's just, that is where, the world is going. And I think, as we can probably all tell you, I mean, the mobile ecosystem is still really nascent, and there's so many gaps and there's so many problems and there's so many times you think that should work, but it's like, oh, well, actually no one's really done that, or iOS is different than Android and that doesn't work on this, and you have to install the app and then the app developer doesn't know how to do X, Y, Z. And so there's so many, I think, interesting opportunities to really smoothen that flow. And I think a lot of those opportunities are going to get captured over the next few years, in mobile app.
Sure. Anything to add to that?
I completely agree with all your points. I'll even take it a step further. I think phones are not the ultimate goal. I think as we see different platforms that are mobile, like watches, TVs, in-house entertainment system, cars, when you think of an app, don't think, oh, I'm building an app for iOS. You think I'm building an app and I'm going to figure out all the different mobile platforms that this app needs to exist, and I'm going to make sure that users are taken to the right content, have the right experience, regardless if they're watching a TV on their phone, on their Apple TV, maybe in their house entertainment system. So I think don't just think of phones. Think of beyond that. How is the ecosystem going to grow beyond that, and make sure that you work cross-platform with whatever service you have for your users.
Well, I think mobile will continue to play an increasing role in the consumer life, as well as in the industrial stuff, particularly in India, where the industrial development is expanding at a pretty much the similar time frame as a mobile internet taking off. But in pretty much basically everywhere else, US, China, the industrial development is maybe 20, 15 years ahead of the development of mobile. So mobile will not only play an important role to the consumers, but also for the industrial development. I think mobile will be very, very critical for these developments.
Great. I think we're finished just right on time. Thank you, guys. If you have any further questions, I'm sure you can catch hold of these guys outside. Bye.